Wiktoria, great to see you. Thanks so much, especially for doing this. I know it's late over there, so I appreciate you guys taking the time. But just how are things? How are you doing? How's the day and everything?
Yes, we are after two trainings and everything is okay. So it is like 10 p.m. in this point.
All right, all right. Very cool, very cool. And Chikatoro, right? That's the nickname. I want to know right away. I love nickname stories, Victoria. So this is a cool one. What's kind of the story behind it? How'd you get this nickname?
Jak się stało, że dostałaś taki nickname Katoro?
Ten nickname wybrali mi koledzy z klubu i zdecydowanie do mnie pasował.
So the nickname Chikatoro, colleagues from my gym, they told me that it is perfect nickname for me. So from this time I use it.
All right, all right. Very cool. Did something happen? Like, did you do something crazy in the gym, a victory, and they're like, that fits? Like, how did it come to be where someone was like, that's the nickname right there?
Od zawsze byłam taką agresywną zawodniczką i mocną strajkerką, dlatego ten nickname do mnie pasował.
I have the aggression style which is very aggressive, so this suit me very well. I'm like a bull.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely saw that in your last fight. So I want to congratulate you on that big head kick victory, Victoria, because that was crazy. You know, it was all over my timeline on Twitter and all that. And a knockout of the year, really, over Ariane Castaneda. So, like, I got to ask you, I mean, what is that feeling like of doing such a great, of course, everyone loves a head kick knockout, but the one you got was so good. And like I said, one of the best of the year so far. Like, what is the feeling like of getting that and just how great was that win for you?
Czułam się na pewno bardzo podekscytowana i przede wszystkim szczęśliwa, że skończyło się to w taki sposób, bo było to moje spełnienie marzeń.
Yeah, so at the time I felt very good. It was amazing. It was like dreams come true.
When you land a knockout like that, does it kind of surprise yourself a little bit, right? Because it's always one of those things where you're fantasizing about it and thinking about it like, oh, that'd be cool to get a head kick knockout or a flying knee or something like that. So when you landed it, were you like, oh, I actually did it?
Czy cię zaskoczyło to, że akurat to wyszło w ten sposób, że dostałaś że udało się zrobić head kicka?
Z jednej strony byłam zaskoczona, a z drugiej przypracowaliśmy bardzo dużo tego na treningach.
So from the one side, I was really surprised because it was very cool. But from the other side, it was something that we trained at the gym. So this is one of the combinations that we trained for this fight.
All right, very cool, very cool. And do you have a specific technique that's your favorite then? Something you really like to throw and land that you've really refined a lot?
Czy są jakieś techniki, które lubisz robić i które często wykonujesz?
Zdecydowanie właśnie high kick i kopnięcie na wątrobę.
So my favorite techniques are the middle kick, liver kick, and the high kick.
All right, certainly some good ones. So that makes that win even more satisfying, I imagine. But, you know, off to a great start here in your career, Victoria, racking up a lot of experience, getting these great wins like that one. So how did you get into combat sports in the very beginning? When did the journey kind of start for you?
Jak się zaczęło to, że weszłaś w sport walki?
W wieku 9 lat zaczęłam trenować karate, później kickboxing i docelowo w wieku 15 lat zaczęłam startować w MMA.
At the age of 9, I started with karate, and next I switched to kickboxing, and finally I get into MMA when I was 15.
Okay, all right. So a gradual progression there. What made you want to do karate? Was it some other friends you had at the time? Maybe family connection? What made you want to start, punching and kicking people?
Jak się stało, że poszłaś na karate i zaczęłaś kopać dużo ludzi?
Zaczęłam trenować wraz z kolegą i tak to się w sumie zaczęło.
I went for my first training with my colleague, and how this is started.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Were there any other sports you were into? Have you done any other sports throughout your life, or has it been mainly combat sports?
Robisz coś, jakieś inne sporty, czy to były sporty walki?
W szkole jeszcze piłka nożna, ale to nie było takie systematyczne.
When I was in the elementary school, I trained soccer, but this wasn't that. I wasn't that interested in soccer like in the combat sports.
Of course, we prefer to kick people, not the soccer ball, right? So that's much. Excellent. I'm curious though, Victoria, like as MMA has gotten older, right, and it's gotten more normal for women, which is great to see, and there's so many great fighters across the globe. Like when you were first getting into it, were a lot of people telling you like, "No, I don't know if you should do this," or was it pretty, welcoming and people were like happy for you? What were the receptions when you first started getting into it?
Jakie były twoje pierwsze odczucia, jak ludzie, jak zaczęłaś trenować MMA? No bo to nie jest sport, który był taki typowo kobiecy i tak dalej, nie?
Od zawsze wierzyli we mnie przede wszystkim rodzice i oni wiedzieli, że dojdę daleko, ale jestem skoncentrowana na własnych celach i trochę egoistyczna, dlatego koncentruję się na tym, co ja o tym myślę.
So my parents always believed in me. So they believed in me, but jak powiedziałeś później?
Ja jest egoistyczna i myślę tylko sobie.
I'm a little bit egoistic and I think about myself. So I believe in me, and that's the most important thing.
Yes, absolutely. Got to have that self-belief, but the support does help. That is always nice for sure. So I'm curious too, because, talking about that and going from people who might be haters or whatnot, you're always going to have those in the sport. I'm curious though, from your perspective, Victoria, what would you say as a fighter, like, are the biggest misconceptions, things that people get wrong who don't fight maybe, and they think they kind of know it all? What are the things that you see a lot where you're like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about?
Muszę mówić o hejterach, o ludzi, którzy nie trenują, ale zdaje im się, że wiedzą, o czym mówią.
Każdy może mieć swoją opinię, ale ja się na tym nie skupiam i jestem skoncentrowana na pozytywach.
So everyone can have his point of view, but I'm focused on myself and on the things what I do.
Yes, of course. Always good to stay positive, keep the right people around you and all that stuff. But I'm curious too, Victoria, have you had any inspirations or like favorite fighters? All this time, like I said, all the great female fighters around the world. Doesn't have to just be the women, of course, but favorite fighters or inspirations you've had.
Valentina Shevchenko.
So the translations.
And Conor McGregor.
Okay, all right, some good ones then. I'm sure you were very excited to see her get the belt back this past weekend. Did you see her win?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, crazy event, right? To put it in the sphere and everything. Could you imagine fighting on that stage? Would it be distracting, you think?
Yes, maybe future.
Yes, of course.
Because it was a really crazy event and looked really spectacular.
Yeah, it was a unique one. So they said one of one, but we'll see. I don't know how they don't try and go back later, but we'll have to see. But yeah, Victoria, I mean, like I said, obviously doing great so far in the career, representing Poland well. And I'm curious, coming from that part of the country, of the world, we've seen great fighters come out of, Poland and everything. Of course, Joanna comes to mind and the champions we've had in the UFC. But like, how important for you is it to represent Poland proudly and be like, yeah, we have a plenty great fighters, great female fighters, and lead the charge for them? How important is that for you?
Jak ważne dla Ciebie, by zadać Polskę, bo jak wiadomo jest kilku zawodników, którzy reprezentują Polskę, Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Jestem dumna z tego, że jestem Polką i mam nadzieję, że będę mogła reprezentować Polskę na największych arenach.
I'm really proud to represent Poland, and I really like to represent Poland in the biggest arenas in the future.
Yes, and we look forward to that. But like, we mentioned the sphere right there in the UFC stage and whatnot, but like for you at this point, Victoria, fighting in KSW is massive in Europe. Like, I don't have to tell you that, like, you're on a really big stage already, with them. So like, I want to know, how important do you think, how beneficial it is, has it been getting to compete on KSW at such a young age, right? Like still 20 years old and getting in this experience on a big platform like KSW. How important do you think that has been, fighting for them?
Jak jest ważne to, że w tak młodym wieku już jakby na takiej dużej platformie jak KSW jesteś i walczysz na takiej dużej scenie.
Jest to dla mnie bardzo ważne i jest to też spełnienie marzeń. Bardzo się cieszę, że organizacja KSW zainwestowała we mnie.
It is very important for me and I'm really grateful for the organization, for the KSW, that they invested me and let me fight at the really big stage at the young age.
Do you like those big crowds, or were they kind of a little pressure at first? Was it scary? What was it like when you first debuted in KSW?
Czy lubisz takie, czy ten duży tłum i tak dalej robi tutaj wrażenie, czy się trochę boisz, czy cię nakręca?
Lubię publiczność i lubię dużą oglądalność, dlatego totalnie nie czuję się sparaliżowana podczas występów.
So I really like it. I like public, and I like people, and I don't feel any pressure. It gives me energy.
All right, cool. Yeah, good motivation to have, right? All the eyeballs on you, the spotlight and that stuff. So then I got to kind of flip it, though. I got to search here, Wiktoria. What would you say is the thing that you feel the most pressure from? Like when people get on long winning streaks, that's an easy one that they always say. Like the longer you get this winning streak, it's more pressure to not lose it, of course. But do you have any pressures in your career right now?
Jaką masz presję w tej chwili? No mówię, jak ma ktoś długi win streak i tak dalej, no to ma presję. A jaka presja jest na tobie, czy masz jakąś presję w tym momencie?
Nie czuję żadnej presji, jestem młoda, mogę się dalej rozwijać i to jest najważniejsze.
I don't feel any pressure at the moment. I'm still young. I still develop myself and my skills, and that is the most important thing.
Yes, absolutely. Always learning. It's a never-ending journey in that regard. And, you know, unfortunately, there is one loss on the record right now, Wiktoria. And I want to bring it up, though, because people say, you know, those are the most important moments, right? And the things you learn the most from. So for you, like, what would you say you did learn the most from your only loss in your professional career, like the takeaways and how it made you better to get on this winning streak you're on now?
Masz jedną przegraną w rekordzie i jak tam ci wpłynęło, czy nauczyłaś się coś z tego i coś wyciągnęłaś z tego?
Dużo zmieniłam, ale skupiam się na pozytywach i myślę o kolejnych wygranych walkach, a nie o tej przegranej.
I have changed a lot of things, but now at the moment I'm focusing at the positives, and I'm focusing on my next fights.
Yes, of course. Onward and upward, right? Aiming for the future. Maybe a rematch if it lines up. That's always nice. But, well, that leads me to it then, Wiktoria. Like, do you want anybody specific next? And when are you hoping to return to the cage?
Czy chciałabyś jakąś konkretną osobę w mecznej walce, kiedy wracasz do klatki?
Wiem już, kiedy będę wracała do klatki, ale jeszcze nie znam przeciwniczki. Jest to mi kompletnie obojętne.
So I know the date, but I don't know my next opponent yet. But I can fight anyone.
All right, all right. Well, I won't ask you specifically what the date is, but before the end of the year, right?
Czy nie będę pytał się, jaka to jest data, ale czy będzie to jeszcze w tym roku?
Będzie to w następnym roku.
No, it will be next year.
Okay.
Beginning of the next year.
All right. We don't want you to wait too long. We got to see the follow-up to that head kick, you know, so I'll be looking forward to it. But in the grand scheme of things, Wiktoria, at this point, obviously still very young, still, you know, going on at the beginning here with 20 years old and everything crazy. Do you have an ultimate goal? Are you kind of just going fight by fight, taking everything in, soaking it up like a sponge, learning all that stuff? Or is there something you really want to make sure you hit in, like, let's say by the end of next year or something like that? Or is it just, one at a time right now?
Masz jakieś konkretne cele, czy po prostu chcesz robić kolejną walkę, czy jakiś konkretny cel, który byś chciał narzucić? Czy masz jakieś cele typu do końca roku chciałbym to czy tamto?
Mam długi kontrakt z Federacją KSW, jestem bardzo zadowolona z naszej współpracy, ale w przyszłości chcę być najlepsza na świecie.
So at the moment I have really long-term contract with the KSW, so I'm really happy to fight for them, but my ultimate goal is just to be just the best in the world.
All right, of course, good goals to have.
At some point.
Yes, indeed. Well, on the right track, KSW is a good spot to be, but on that note. I don't want to keep you guys too long because it is late over there, of course. But before I let you go, Wiktoria, thank you so much for the time again. But I got to know, like, outside of MMA, I love seeing what fighters are into and anything like that. Do you have any hobbies or favorite things that you like to do outside of MMA?
Masz jakieś hobby, które lubisz poza
To gotowanie.
I like to cooking. Tylko. Yeah, I like to cook. I like to cook
I jeść.
and eat.
All right. There we go. What's the favorite thing? Do you have a favorite meal or something like that?
Pizza.
I like pizza.
All right, a good choice. Can't go wrong with a good pizza there, but and can't go wrong with the great victories like the last one, Wiktoria. So I'll congratulate you on that again. Great stuff. Knockout of the year, like I said. Really great. Can't wait to see you again. But I will let you get on with the rest of your night then. I appreciate you taking the time so much. Big congrats. Looking forward to the future. It's a bright one. But yes, thank you.
Thank you for having us.